Welcome back to the Slide Job Podcast. I am your host, Colton Smith, or Left Turn Central, here joined by producer Josh Northcutt and co-host Brandon Bull Davis. How are you guys doing after that weekend?
Go ahead, Bull.
I'm here. It's been it was interesting to say the least. That the group chat started firing lap one.
It sure did.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. The best part is if anybody that watches the bench warmers, Garrett started texting about something in his class at the same exact time.
Oh.
And it was like literally the first lap he started texting that, and it's like he was crashing out about something in his project, and it's like it was a fair crash out, but it's like at the very same time as I just witnessed Ross Chastain the three of my five drivers, including Chase Elliott, on the first corner of the first lap. Yeah, that was. I told Garrett I was going to turn him into a what did I say, like a bucket of parts or something like that.
Yeah, bucket of parts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, dude, literally. So, like, obviously, I created our little group chat, and that kind of started blowing up. And instantly, Garrett texts something, and all Colton goes is, "Don't turn this into Freebird, Garrett." And I just go, "Garrett, Chastain just ruined Colton's day."
Really
and
did.
instantly, Garrett's like, "Oh, let's see how far I can push the button." And I'm just
Yeah.
I'm not getting in the middle of this one. I'm sitting this one out.
Yeah, no, that's fair. And let's go ahead and talk about that race, because it was quite the race for sure. It started out, I was really worried about where this was going. I thought it was going to be a wreck fest, kind of like the first two Indy road course races. We get into corner one. Ross Chastain starting about row 5, I believe, row 4 or 5, decides that he wants to go from 8th, 9th place to the lead on lap 1 and has no intentions of finishing the corner. In the process, he takes out Chase Elliott, takes out Connor Zilich, and takes out Denny Hamlin, all three of which proved throughout the race they had top 10 speed. I mean, Denny Hamlin with his left or right front fender out was running in the top 20 and making moves until he got that penalty. Connor Zilich was the fastest car on the track at the end of stage 1 and pretty much throughout stage 2, worked his way from the back of the field up to, I think, about 12th until Suarez showed why he will no longer be in the 99 next season. And Zilich then gets a DNF on that. Chase Elliott, though, what a path for him. He's the one that probably got hit the worst, as just absolutely dive bomb into him. Credit to Chase, he hit it with I didn't do anything right before they're like, no, he didn't do anything. It was just Chastain being an idiot. He's like, okay, I just wanted to make sure before I wreck him. And then I think he realized that saying that over radio means if you do end up wrecking him, a point penalty. And so he didn't end up doing it, but it'll be fun to see when and where he lines up next to him or behind him on a restart, and we see Ross Chastain go flying into the wall. Cannot wait. And hopefully he becomes a bucket of parts. But I mean, his car, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Anyways, moving on through the race, though, SVG or Tyler Reddick got the lead off the pole. Bubba Wallace actually looked like he was going to have a great day. Unfortunately, cut a corner, which that was a big talking point. And maybe we should just go ahead and get into is kind of throughout the race, there was confusion on what the track limit policies were. I believe the final verdict was it was what everyone thought it was, except for turn 6 ended up there were no track limits and you could cut the track as you please. And accordingly, but you had Hocevar, I know, made a tweet about it afterwards. Kyle Busch in the middle of the race was kind of the one that figured it out. And it's funny enough, AJ Allmendinger was like, wait, that there was a chance that that wasn't a thing. So I do want to, because NASCAR officiating has been, at the forefront of the headlines. I want to take a break from the recap and hear your guys' thoughts, starting with Bull, on the track limits fiasco.
We always talk consistency, and that's been the big thing in NASCAR. There is none. There's no consistency.
That's the only consistency we have.
The only consistency is no consistency. In the drivers' meeting, I forget which one of the reporters put it out, but they put out pictures of the slideshow that they showed the drivers, and then ended up there was no track limits in 5, 6, and 7. Like, we need track limits, I get it, but they've got to come up with a system, something better than. Also, it's just a visual. I mean, oh, it looks like your tires are all 4 below, or like there's got to be a better way. I do like in the one corner. I think it was, forget which turn it was, maybe 9, where they put the stack of tires, and I mean they were right up against it, cutting it close,
Mhm.
right before pit road. There's got to be some way to keep them enforced, keep track limits enforced, but not leave it up to a judgment call as well. I mean, as it goes without saying, consistency. It's the name of the game. You got to have it.
Yeah,
Uh,
I don't know if you saw, but they had those tires barriers throughout the S's to start the weekend, and then drivers complained about them, and they ended up getting it taken out. But Josh, what did you think about all this?
I'm gonna say you mentioned one of the drivers bringing up. I want to say it was like section 6. Was that AJ Allmendinger like during the?
Turn 6 was the very controversial turn where
Yeah, I want to say it
I
was
guess there ended
during
up being no track
like
limits.
stage 1 is when they first popped it up, and they're like,
Mhm.
"Hey, just to let you know, section 6 or whatever was free go," and the
I
driver
think
was
Bush
like,
was the one that
"Yeah,"
that came out
and
on.
he was just like, "Okay, I thought that's the way it was supposed to be anyway." Like,
Dinger was the one that was said. So
yeah.
my bad on
So
that.
if the drivers don't know the rules, there's a problem with that.
Hmm.
They need to somehow, like Bull said, I don't know if there's a mark they can somehow do or a design when they do the track. I mean, maybe this is part of the reason why they're not coming back here as of now, right? Still, that's the thing.
Currently, they don't have a contract for next year. That's happened to many tracks and
Mhm.
nothing came of it. But they definitely were leaving their options open, probably to maybe replace it. I think it should come back, especially after the racing we saw this year and last year. But yeah.
I'm gonna say I know stage 1, like watching Reddick, Bubba, and SVG race, even though they're teammates. It was good battling. It was good, clean racing that I was very impressed to watch.
Hmm. And that kind of, with the exception of the start itself, that kind of held throughout the race. I would say there was the Austin Cindric hooking Ty Dillon. Um, not many lives were changed by that, but it did happen. And so then you have the race going on. You mentioned SVG and Reddick battle. SVG gets the advantage, but then Kyle Busch throws his name in the ring. A guy who used to be really stellar at the road courses throughout the 2010s. Kind of since this new package, he hasn't been that same force. Decent, whatever. But he throws his hat in the ring, and even in the second stage would eventually take the lead. And with the strategy, the stage winners were all off. I think Bubba won the first stage, Priest won the second stage, just simply by staying out at the end of it. That's why we don't really need stage cautions. The only reason we have them is because Fox and NBC want them for more commercials, full screen commercials, especially. So with that being said, we get into stage 3, and it starts out with did SVG have the lead to start that, or was it still Bush? It was still Bush, wasn't it?
I think they were side by. I think they were 1-2.
Okay. Well, actually, I remember what happened now. So SVG was definitely, at least they were 1-2, and then there was that early caution. What was the issue with SVG was he could not get his car going, so he would get a restart on the front row, and typically whoever else was on that front row would get him. He'd have to try and work his way back up, but then he had 2 kind of consecutive cautions come out, which on that second one he didn't have as much track position and ended up losing that. Fell back to like 7th or 8th in just one corner and had to try and work his way back. It became apparent that he wasn't going to win, so he would try a different strategy in which he stayed out the longest of anybody. And it kind of worked out for him, you would think, because a caution did come out and he had the fresher tires with about, 12 or 13 to go. But it didn't end up amounting to much because he got another bad restart. And we saw Christopher Bell, Kyle Busch, William Byron and Tyler Reddick all going at it. Busch had the advantage, but he was working the hell out of his tires. I don't know if you saw his tires at the end of it. They were absolutely bald. And then Busch unfortunately fell out of that battle. We did get a really cool picture of them all 4 wide going into one of the corners. And then it came down to that of William Byron, Christopher Bell, and Tyler Reddick. Gosh. Wait, did I say? Yes, I said everybody. So it ended up being Christopher Bell at the track position. Byron nor Reddick could get by him, and Christopher Bell is your winner. Back-to-back winner after his win at Atlanta, doing that super speedway and a road course.
Too early for that. Too early for that.
Yeah, not working out for Josh's prediction of 20 winners, especially at another race where you could see a wild card winner. But Josh, I will let you start. What did you think overall from this race? And it is worthy to mention that this end racing was very clean. We saw Bell almost get himself out of the race to try and avoid wrecking Kyle Busch. So what did you think from it, Josh?
All right. So here's the truth, gentlemen. I work thirds on Saturdays into Sunday mornings. I lasted through stage 1. I found that comfortable spot on the couch, and I woke up to watch Christopher Bell win the race. I watched stage 1.
No, you can watch the highlights, and then you don't have to say this.
That I did. No, it seemed like very good racing. Like I said, stage 1 was entertaining. The pit strategies of how everybody was a little bit different, wanting stage points, such as Bubba, Logano, and I want to say it was Chase Elliott, stayed out in stage 1 to make sure that he got his points. It's an interesting turn of events of how it works with road courses, especially now that there's 8 of them on, six, 7,
give or take.
6 or 8 road courses on the schedule now. But I guess the one person I did just want to point out, and you brought up, was a 4th place finish by Chase Elliott. Chase Elliott doesn't get dumped in lap 1 and have to work through 30 other plus fucking drivers. Does Chase Elliott win the race? We'll never know. But I
appreciate that I didn't have to be the one to mention that. But yeah, go ahead.
I mean that's the question. If he was good enough to get through all these drivers again, and then put himself in a position where he finished 4th place behind Bell, Byron, and Reddick. If he doesn't get dumped, he doesn't have a little damage. He's not working through 37 other cars, even though I know it gets a little bit easier, but still, that Chase Elliott can only do so much. But historically, he's been one of the most dominant road course drivers ever. So who's to say he doesn't win his first one in 3-4 years?
Yeah, that's twisting the knife there.
Yeah, sorry to bring that up, Colton.
not even to mention that in stage 2, he had a series of pit stops to fix the toe link and do other stuff on the car, which led him to be stuck back in like 33rd. But enough about Chase. I could give a whole monologue about Chastain, but Bull, what did you think about this race?
I don't think we can quit talking about Chase just yet. If I remember correctly, on this same podcast last week, was we not talking about Carson Hocevar mentoring somebody about making dumb moves?
Or Ross Chastain.
Ross Chastain.
Yeah.
Mentoring.
We sure did.
And then he dive bombs from 4 rows back on lap 1, corner 1. I mean, what are we doing?
How did he not get penalized for that?
There was no way he was making that corner.
Oh, trust me, Colton made that emphasis about 5 times in the group chat. I'm very much well aware. And I was watching it back. I mean, that was literally the watermelon, just full send. I'm going to hit a car and be able to turn.
He took 12 wheels turn easier than 4 to hard.
He sure did. That is exactly what happened right there. That's great. Yes, I mean, I it's to the point. Ross Chastain there's Joey Logano, and then there's Ross Chastain just below, and it's just because Ross Chastain hasn't been in the sport as long. Because it's one thing to go with the 12 wheels method. It's another thing to try and act all high and mighty, mentoring Hocevar, telling him what he did wrong last week, when what he did doesn't even compare to what you did on lap 1 of the race. And then you didn't even succeed from it.
You also got to add Brad Keselowski on super speedways to that list.
Yeah.
But
That too.
back to the race, could you imagine Chase doesn't get wrecked lap 1, Suarez doesn't run out of talent in stage 3.
Exactly what happened.
Imagine Elliott with a good car and Zilich battling. They're going to be up there in those. That's a heck of a top 5. They're going to be up there battling with Reddick, Byron, and Bell.
Yeah.
That finish would have been one of the top 5 road course finishes. That
Yeah. It could have been 5 wide in that corner where they all were.
it could have been. Zilich was that car in stage 2. He was flying. Stage 2, beginning of stage 3 he was the best car on the track, one of them at least.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's sad because really with that, if Ross Chastain just doesn't exist, we really have 3 contenders probably still in this thing. Yeah, Hamlin wasn't a winning contender, but he probably was around that top 15, top 10. And more importantly, I have a lot more points than just 31 on the weekend. I'll use that as a segue to talk about the Fast 5 standings as Ben pulls away with Christopher Bell on his team in first, who finished first, Byron in second, then Van Gisbergen in third. That was also his pick to win the race. Didn't work out, but if you just keep spamming that, I'm sure it'll work at some point this season. He had Ross Chastain, who ended up in 12th. He definitely was very kind to Chase Elliott there towards the end of the race. Made sure, come on, Chase, you're faster than me. Just go on by. But he'll get his payback one of these days. Larson, Ben's first pick, actually finished 32nd after losing a wheel. Bye-bye Cliff Daniels for 4 weeks, I believe, is the penalty. Josh has 100 points, 15 points back with Bush, Busher, Bowman all getting top 10, Cindric in 25th, Gibbs in 34th. And then we both picked Tyler Reddick. I had Tyler Reddick on my team who finished third at the top 10 car all day long. I also had Chase Elliott who finished fourth. Here's where it gets very frustrating because Hamlin finished 21st. That was one that got caught up in there. But Allmendinger, that guy was in the top 5 all day long, all the way up until the last 10 minutes, 10 minutes, 10 laps, whatever. And his tires just fall off the face of the earth. And he goes from a 5th place finish to a 30th place finish. And Zilich also DNFs in 37th. Yeah, it's just Dinger is one thing about Dinger is he is great at the road courses, but he's too great at the road courses for the equipment that he is in. And he'll tend to overuse it. And then all of a sudden he goes from competing for the lead to 30th, like he did today. To really quickly recap the top 10 here and the results, Bell is obviously your winner. Byron, Reddick, Elliott, Bush is your top 5. Van Gisbergen in 6th. Chris Buescher, best road course driver in the sport potentially, in 7th place. Noah Gragson snuck out at 8th place. Nobody knows where he came from, but he showed up in 8th place. Bowman in 9th, and Todd Gillen, 2 front row drivers in the top 10, continuing the kind of tradition of being a good road course racing team. And some notables I got here, Michael McDowell has finished 11th, 13th, and 11th in his first 3 races, currently finds himself 8th in the point standings. So pretty good start for McDowell and Spire over there. And I already mentioned Larson, 32nd, Zilich, a DNF. Those are the 2 other notables I had. Any last, we have some overreactions and some flying the flag to do, but any last thoughts about the race you wanted to get out?
I got nothing.
I'm good. I think stage 1 and 3 were amazing. Stage 2, we could have done without stage 2, but give me more of stage 1 and stage 3. You didn't miss much with that little nap, Josh.
Yeah, very, very true. Left turn rating is a new thing I want to introduce. Just give it a 1 out of 10. I'll start and go ahead and give it an 8. I think the 2 things the 2 points this was missing was probably a stage 2 interesting. I don't like the lack of there being a stage cautions. And then also some of the controversy at the beginning kind of put me Chastain and all that, just can't give that, had to take a point off for that. So Josh, I'll let you start.
It's a nap rating.
Rating.
The what I saw, I mean, I'd say it's like a 6 or 7. It was entertaining to a fact. It's also road course racing. I'm a traditional old school NASCAR fan. I'm not a big fan of road courses, but this was one of the more exciting ones and fun ones to watch.
Bull?
I'm going to go with a 7. I think with stage 2, something interesting would have happened if there would have been good racing in stage 2. This could have been an 8, 9, 10. I mean,
Mhm.
the finish, the last 20, 30 laps of that race was phenomenal. I mean,
Mhm.
they were fantastic. Give me more of that. But yeah, we got to do something about those middle 25 laps in stage 2.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Well, that brings us to fly the flag. And Josh, I actually have one that I thought of as we were going through this that I'll add, but if you want to take it away.
Sure. First one, Bull. The championship favorites will be Bell, Byron, and Reddick.
I'm going to go yellow. I do think at least 2 of those will be in there, but we're only 3 races into the season. It's too early to tell. Anything can still happen.
Golden.
Yeah, I'm actually going to fly the green on that one. I get the yellow, maybe a little hint of yellow in that green, but I think these guys are kind of prepared and are ready to kind of avenge. These are all 3 drivers that were 2 in the final 4. Bell should have been in the final 4, which means Byron shouldn't have been in the final 4, but who shouldn't have been? Logano. Here we go. But anyways, I think these are guys that were already championship favorites last year, and I think they're going to repeat that. But I think there's going to be kind of like Josh says with all the race winners, I think there's going to be a lot of people that could win the championship this year. I think Chase Elliott is included in that list. Alex Bowman, I think, is going to have something to say about that, and many more. Obviously, Larson should be in there as well. So green as far as those 3 being in the hunt, but maybe yellow as them being the only ones.
I'll fly the green. I think they're easily the 3 best drivers right now, and my top 5 will show that. There's something about Christopher Bell and Joe Gibbs this year. I picked Bell to win the whole thing, and I'm not going off of it. I've even doubled down and put a little wager on him. They'll win the whole thing if it says anything
Shocker.
there. Colton, vintage Chastain is back.
He goes to me first. Green flag, green flag. I don't know. Maybe yellow flag because it's just one incident, but I feel like one Chastain incident tends to breed more. So I'll keep it yellow for now. But a retaliation from Chase could lead to a retaliation from Ross, and then we have some vintage Ross Chastain back.
Bolt.
I'm gonna go green. I mean, that was a move he pulled 2-3 years ago when it was prime Ross and Denny Hamlin going back and forth. That brought me back to 2-3 years ago. I'm going green.
All right.
I think I'm also going green. I'm starting to wonder if he's maybe feeling some pressure about possibly maybe being forced out of a job if they can find another driver. He missed the playoffs last year, right?
He did, but he was still their best driver.
And he's currently sitting in 20th in points. He's going to have the young gun breathing down his neck, correct? Or no? Zilic is going.
Suarez is the next one out.
See you, Suarez.
Yeah, Suarez is long gone. He lost his job in the turn 9 or whatever of the race there.
All right. So that, I mean, it's just maybe some pressures amounting. Obviously, Pitbull left, so we've been talking. There could be something behind the scenes. So it wouldn't surprise me one bit that the old vintage Chastain of full sell it, get the first place anywhere possible is back.
I agree with you there, Josh. Ever since he quit being so aggressive, his results and performance has plummeted. He's not been having near the results in the finishes. Yeah. So I think he is feeling that pressure.
And then the last question that I have, and then Colton, you said you got another one. I'll answer this first. Village is a future Hall of Famer. Red flag, pump the brakes, whatever you want. The kid is 18 years old. I'm not crowning that dude any type of Hall of Famer.
But you'll compare him to Tiger Woods.
I'm not. I didn't. I sent you the article that said he's got the maturity in the level that he looks at NASCAR like 18-year-old Tiger looked at golf, which is very scary to hear. I'll be the first to admit that. But I'm not going to put the dude in the Hall of Fame with the all-time 11s when he's 18 years old. No, red flag. Colton.
I'm waving the yellow because I think there's a possibility there, especially with the movement to all these different road courses. Clearly, race one, he was already competitive with these Cup Series drivers. It's still yet to be seen what his talent's going to look like on ovals, and I'm curious to see what his Xfinity Series season looks like. But yeah, for now, I'm waving the yellow. I think the possibility is out there, but yeah, I'm not going to flat out say it yet. Bull?
I'm going red. That was his first Cup race. We got to slow it down. But I will say, as Kyle Busch said on Twitter, he finished dead last and had a DNF in his first race.
I mean, it looks good. It looks good. But really quick, my fly the flag I had thought of is should COTA be should we come back to COTA basically? It could just be a yes or no or whatever. Just a question I have. Do you think COTA is a race we should consistently be going to year in and year out, or do you think maybe it's time, maybe give it a couple years off, maybe come back to it later? Starting with Bull.
So I will say yes, but I got to add the caveat. We have to run the new layout. I was
Yes.
skeptical going in because removing that long straight, there was removing a couple other braking sections, was going to remove a couple passing zones. But the new course, the new layout was great. So I think if we run that, then yes, we do got to come back.
Josh?
I'd say yes, but I'd argue that your idea of making it what you just talked about, making it a maybe every other year type thing with another road course. I don't know, like with their deal with Mexico City, but maybe do 1 year COTA, 1 year Mexico City, so we don't have as many road courses. Because I'll be interested to see when we talk on Friday how viewership is, because again, usually road courses don't mean good things for NASCAR viewership.
Yeah, that's good. I say yes. I think it's better than that of Sonoma and some other. I think it's better than the street course. Street course has only had 2 races, so maybe the jury's still out. But
Hey, if we can get one in Cincinnati, we'll gladly take another street race, Colton.
I mean, yeah, I wasn't hating on street races. I'm just saying the Chicago one specifically. I'm not the biggest fan, but yeah, I think it's up for debate. I think he could take a couple of years off so long as COTA is fine with that. But anyways, moment we've been waiting for, Josh. Bull, it is time for you to give your overreaction. You have been hyping it up here. Drum roll.
Bull, I'm gonna warn you, if it's something with Chastain, you're gonna get kicked out of the chat.
No pressure.
So it's not with Chastain, but I am staying with Trackhouse.
Ooh.
So my overreaction is SVG is not going to win another Cup race, and he is going to be out of the Cup Series in 2 years.
Wow.
The one race that he won,
yeah,
it was a new car, it was a new street course, and it piss poured the rain.
And it did.
All these circumstances played into his favor. Trackhouse is paying him to win the road course races and make the playoffs. If he is not winning road courses and make the playoffs, he's out of there. Especially with Pitbull leaving, I'd say they're going to give him this year and next year. And if he does, I don't think he's going to win one, and I think he's out.
Bull, I'm going to need you to go ahead and talk to our buddy Ben, because Ben is on the complete opposite of the spectrum. He still said he's going to win 3 of those bad boys this year. So you guys can duel that out. I'll sit it out and watch.
Yeah, we do need to see that happen.
that is a hot take. Colton, you got any thoughts on that? Because I mean, I'm still trying to process it.
I can see it. I mean, we've had plenty of supercar drivers, F1 drivers, and all of that come into the sport. Marcus Ambrose, Juan Pablo Montoya, incredibly talented drivers, and they came and they won a couple of races. I think Montoya even won an oval race or 2. But also Montoya is probably one of the most talented drivers in the history of racing. So that's kind of expected. Van Gisbergen is an incredibly talented driver. And I probably more so see a world where he does win a race or 2, but I also see what Bull says, honestly. It's a lot easier said than done. Allmendinger, we know he is outstanding at these road courses, but he doesn't win them all. He's won three in the Cup Series. So it's It's not just about being the best driver. That'll get you some laps led, but it's about knowing how to get there at the end. And Shane, really outside of that Chicago race, has not been able to do that at the Cup Series level.
But also look at how much effort the other drivers are putting into road course racing and getting better at it.
Yes.
Tyler Reddick didn't grow up road course racing. He grew up dirt track racing.
Mm-hmm.
And now look at him. He won COTA 2 years ago, I think it was.
Yeah.
And finished third. And Chase Elliott, Byron, Bell, Hamlin's gotten better at road racing. Everybody's getting better. If this was 5-6 years ago, it would be a different take. But in today's NASCAR, I don't think he can come in, take advantage of the weaker road course talent, and win races.
Yeah. No, I 100% see that take. It's definitely a hot take, but I could see it happening. Josh, what's your reaction?
Spire Racing is going to win at least 2 races this year.
2
via Michael McDowell and Carson Hocevar, leaving Justin Haley without the win. The one who I came into the year most sure of finding a way to get a win. Not off to a hot start, despite driving the 7, which is I don't want to say like the legacy car, but still the car that we all know Spire for. He's given the worst showing of the 3 drivers. And don't look now, but Michael McDowell is 8th in points. Very quietly performing very well.
Yeah, 13th or 11th, 13th, and 11th. That's his first 3 finishes. That Atlanta one, I realized after we recorded it, not enough credit given to him that race. He was 3 laps down at one point in the Atlanta race, and he came back to finish 13th. Incredible stuff from him. And yeah, McDowell, I would say, is definitely the leader. Host of ours, the young, wily, just crazy guy. And then the wild card. We'll call host of ours the wild card. And it's interesting to see where Haley fits in. One thing about Haley his whole career, though, he's typically a very consistent finisher. He doesn't have the raw speed, but he's typically able to sneak his way into a top 20 at COTA like he had this week, or he was even in the top 10 at one point. So I wouldn't count him out yet. I wouldn't count Justin Haley out yet, but I do see your point. I don't know about the 2 wins. I see it happening, but there's a lot. It's so much with this current era of parity that I could never stamp that. But my reaction from this week has completely slipped my mind. Why did I not write it down? But I guess I'll go ahead and throw one out that Chris Buescher is going to make the Final 4 this year. I don't know why, but it's a juju that I've just had, a feeling that I've had that it's going to happen at some point, and I kind of feel like this is the year for him. No real basis off of it. I forgot what my original one was. I'll remember it as soon as the show's over. So shout out to waking up at 4:30 in the morning for every day of the week.
Well,
so
it happens.
Yeah. Anywho, that brings us to our power rankings. I do have that one written down, so I'll remember that, but I'll go ahead and let Josh start it off. I think you kind of already alluded to what at least your top 3 is going to be, but let's hear what you got.
Yeah. Number 5, I'm still going Kyle Larson. I know I eventually somebody's going to yell at me, and
this might be the time. 30 seconds?
God,
he's still Kyle Larson. He's still Kyle Larson.
What does that have to do with anything?
He's still Kyle Larson. I'm putting him 5th. He's still Kyle Larson. I can't knock him off the top 5, just pure talent alone.
He's 16th. He's 16th in points,
and I haven't found a 5th driver that I can say is a bigger threat than Kyle Larson. He is the guy who will be possibly on the outside looking in of the playoffs to the other 4 guys I'm about to mention. Number 4 is Tyler Reddick. Looked very good. Should have probably won the race. Didn't quite get there. It happens. Number 3, Ryan Blaney. The only one not to win a race. Number 2, William Byron. And then number 1, the man's now won 2 races at 2 different tracks. And we're going to Phoenix, where he has very good talent. And I think he's won before or finished 2nd last year. One or the other.
Sounds like he won. I feel like he won.
And Christopher Bell is my number 1. So yes, Colton, feel free to yell at me all you want, but still, off pure talent alone, Kyle Larson is number 5.
You see that's like, I don't even know like how to explain how wrong that is, but okay. Wheel fell off. Crew chief out for 4 weeks, and you think he's
and he'll find a way to win this week.
Okay.
Give me the first pick, and he'll be my first pick on.
Unfortunately, that is mine. So, Bull, what is your power rankings looking like?
I feel like the power rankings, if we don't have the same top 3, I feel like somebody's wrong. Mine's pretty close to Josh. My number 5 is not Kyle Larson, sitting at 16th in points. It is actually Bubba Wallace, sitting at 6th in points. Started out the season winning the duel. Had a 9th place finish at Atlanta. Won stage 1. I know it's strategy, but got that playoff point. Number 4, Ryan Blaney. Number 4, Tyler Reddick. Number 3, Blaney. 2 is Byron, and 1 is Bell.
Yeah, we're all kind of in the same train of thought. The 5 is once again different for me though. I have Chase Elliott at number 5. He's been wrecked out of 3 races, and he's still 5th in the point standings. And he's also incredibly talented, Josh. So I think that also fits that part of the bill for you. You also have Tyler Reddick. You're muted. You're muted. Whatever you just said. Love to hear what you had to say. You got it, buddy. Come on.
I'm on 2 calls at once. Anyway.
Okay.
Anyway. I can't give you that satisfaction. Pure simple.
Of course. So you admitted that he would be 5th if he wasn't my favorite driver. Understood. Tyler Reddick is in 4th place for me. 2nd place in the 500. 3rd place pole at COTA. I think just what's missing for me is the win, and that puts him above Blaney. Blaney 2nd in the points. He's my 3rd in the power rankings. Had speed, had decent speed at COTA as well, around that top 15, top 10 at some points, which for somebody who's not good at a road course is about what you would expect. And also he's got a road course win now, I think of it. But anyways, really fast first 2 races. Penske kind of the flagship driver there, so I keep him at 3rd. And then I got Byron in 2nd place. He's got that Daytona 500 win. Should have been top 5 finish at Atlanta and a 2nd place finish at COTA. But Christopher Bell has my number 1 spot. You win 2 races to start off the year, you get to be 1st place in my power ranking. Simple as that. That is a shot in the arm that can lead to even more wins. And I don't think it was Josh that said it. I think I just saw it on Twitter, but somebody was going around saying this might be the year that Christopher Bell finally just rouse off 7 wins, like has that Kyle Larson 2021-esque season.
I was going to say, I literally saw on Twitter, and it's probably the same thing you saw. So like the next 4 races, he's finished in the top 5 and or won the race in every single one. So they're saying it wouldn't surprise them if he runs off 6 or 7 straight, because he's that good. When he says we come to any track and we can win, he can.
I think he might be at the top of the power rankings for a while here. Yeah, that's a hell of a stretch for him. Phoenix, Las Vegas, Homestead, and Martinsville. Vegas, I feel like in the Cup Series hasn't necessarily been his track, but it definitely, I remember some good races in the Xfinity Series, and he's probably gotten better. I just remember having a couple bad stretches there. But I mean, Homestead, Martinsville, we've seen him be so clutch at Martinsville in the playoffs. Yeah, C. Bell might be that early front runner, I think, for the championship.
I feel like my 20 winners this year is going to go down the drain very quickly with the way he's doing.
Yeah, we need to do the math on how many how many you got left. I mean, what is it? You got
33 races 33. Left, right?
Yeah, so you have
like you
got 13. Yeah, 13 races. So that's enough. We'll see.
But fine, you know what? Since you guys did one with Kyle Larson, you know what? I'll pick Michael McDowell. And my reason why, he's 5th in the standings right now due to the old school Winston Cup points. I'm done.
We just bullied him into that, didn't we? We sure bullied
But I
him
mean,
into
how
that.
crazy is that though? He would be fifth if it was old school NASCAR. Like that's how good he's had to the start of the year, and nobody's talking about it. It's quiet under the radar because of all the other stories. But Michael Badal in a new ride, very impressive.
I would just like to point out you may have been taking a nap, but when I was going through the results, I mentioned Michael McDowell being 8th in points. But you're right. Nobody on Twitter is talking about it. That's for sure. He takes a swig. But yeah, it's a great point. McDowell is an incredibly talented driver at a team at Spire that is looking to take the next jump this year, and a lot of road courses on the schedule. You've got some super speedways left on there. He could rattle off a couple wins. Who knows with the way it's going? But that brings us towards the end of our show. So before we get out of here, is there anything you guys want to make peace with? Anything you want to get out there before we move along?
I will add, if you look at the winners so far, it's been Byron, Bell.
The best route. So
There's one other driver. The last name starts with a B. That's Ryan Blaney.
He's pretty good at Phoenix, huh?
He's visiting Victory Lane this week.
Bull, do it. I was going to ask him his pick, but there it is.
Oh, he did. He just gave. I didn't even realize that's what he was doing. I thought he was making the point on the bees. So
which one of the three? But apparently, you know what, Bull, I'm betting him right now. I can talk gambling now. We're not school affiliated.
Wait, how many B's are there in the field? We got Byron, Blaney, Bell, Bowman, Busher. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, well, all five of those guys will have wins when the year's over. So
that's very, very true. And we can't wait to see it all happening. But we're going to go ahead and wrap up the show here. Ryan Blaney, that's the pick from Bull. Hey, I copied you on the Tyler Reddick one. That worked out pretty well for me, so I might have to follow suit with the first pick this week.
Shut up next time, Bull. Oh, Bull, by the way, I don't know if you got to watch, but if you go back and watch the Pick'em show and watch Colton throw a hissy fit, that was because of me.
I was cracking up laughing.
Yeah, my pin or whatever I threw still sits over there. I haven't picked it up since, but can't wait to once again throw whatever's sitting right here on my desk this Friday on the Slide Job podcast when me, Josh, and Ben Miller all make our picks for the Fast Five. I gotta turn around, man. It's looking ugly. You're
gonna stay in the cellar. I gotta get it up top.
And no. I gotta turn this one around. So there's gonna be some serious thought analysis of like who's gonna be in position to get Chastained. And unfortunately, Chase Elliott is probably number one on that list. So I got to keep. I might bump him down a couple. But anyways, thank you all for listening. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. Got a nice influx of subscribers and comments from Bull. So shout out to Bull. He's the star of the show, I guess. Yeah, we'll go ahead and follow us on Twitter at LFC __99 at JNorth1989. Bull, you did follow me on Twitter, although I did not write down your at. So do you know it now?
I do. I changed it and made it a little easier. It's Bull _81818.
All right. Go follow him on there. And that's all I got. So we will see you guys on Friday. Peace out.